When Samoans first began coming to the United States in the early 1900s, they were looking for a place to belong. They found home with family, and as those family circles grew, they found it again with their churches. Over time, as Samoans became part of life in America, many found themselves living between two cultures, connected to both, yet not fully at home in either. This place, Manuia, offers a place to land, a place to breathe, and a place to belong. Second Samoa is your home away from home.
Moanga ngana e whaavai mai peivo vai. E la langa e tina le lau pola pola e whaonga ai lau niu o na whai e lea ma pupuni ai ia mai le sosola ese mai taudai mai la dolo whaiva le whaiva o le pu e ina o ia. E la pupuni te tele, lau pola pola te tele e whaonga e pupuni ai ia o ngā sami te tele. Ia e whai lau pola pola laiti e pupuni ai ia o ngā sami laiti. Na whapele o le alanga upu e ese le puni loa, ese le puni matatongo, ese le pupuni e puni ai le vailo loa. Olo o iai I a te tele, ese fo I le puni la ititi e pupuni ai matatongo olo no nofo ai a laiti. A whapele wha o ngā pupuni tele e pupuni ai ala vai laiti. Ia ona whete e na I lea adonu e mau ia le pupuni ma le lau pola pola. Ia na I e light e te pe lava o le whaonga ina o le bazooka e whanai le namu liftau mai mautu tau alu vale le malosi. E whaonga lava le puni loa e puni ai o ngā sami te tele o lo I tata ai e te tele. Ia ma le puni madadongo e whaonga e pu e ai I a laiti o ngā sami laiti. Ia o tele o I loa pe e seisi o toe manatua le lalanga ina o neila pola pola. E ele me o tupu o lo whaonga ina pe le moanga ngana lea e tula whale o tatu tunu. Ia ma whailaunga fo I mai latou o lo Manuia tatou to whamanino e ese le puni loa, ese le puni matatou. Ia e pese I e o le tau mawhainga la vai a le platform le nei, o le tau mawhai e abstract ia le essence o le moanga ngana le na. E ui lava ina le oto e whaiani vai e whaonga ina hai pupuni. So Robert, when you hear that proverb, it is something that's extracted from the favor of people to gather fish. That's where that proverb comes. But to really get to the essence of what it is we need to abstract it. And what I've abstracted it to be is this. There's content and there's context, right? So when you confuse content with context, then you will have this challenge, this thing that dissonates in the Samoan community. When you don't have the puni loa doing matatongo work, when you have puni loa doing matatono work versus puni loa to do puni loa work, there's a little bit of disconnect there, right? It's like using a bazooka to go after and mosquito. It's a misuse of resources, and it's not something that people ought to do. A lot of waste and fraud there. So content and context, that's really what the essence is of puni loa and puni mdatong. So we know content, it's that which is put in the context, and context is so overwhelming, so universal, and so solid and foundational that regardless of the content will always win out. It's like having a big body of water. The context is like having a big body of water, and everything that you put in the lake, in the water, in this body of H2O, it'll get wet. Whatever the content is, whether it's a jacket, pair of shoes, sofa, bicycle, whatever content goes into the water, the context is so overwhelming that it gets wet. So that, in essence, is the gift today. O le nati le nā mo le nei vaiaso, le nei taimi, le nei video. Ina ne I whaonga e tātou se le puni loa e whono il madadong. Ne te ua te lea tātou ngā luenga e whai le content, e misi ai le context. Whapela vai enia tātou ngā luenga whau, onga, whaawau. E ta ua ai o tātou tangata I le tupulanga me le tupulanga. E te tau lava na whauanga I le context. Ia ama I le content. Wai o mai tangata mao. Ia le context lava le meptusi liun tau. Pese o mele ta ua ila tātou ngangana. Io e mo I lava e o mai tangata ma whenanui, ma whaila lātou wha Samoa, e whetau I mai lātou. Ai o le context lava o lo nofo I te tonu le tent leo le ngangana, le Samoan identity, o lo tātou wha Samoa. So a tonu la ma whaia I tātou o na sui le content, sui le ngangana. Ia ai le ma whai lava o na ve ese le context o lo tātou iai. E finau mai fwoi tangata ia te au pouena, e pea le te taua o na nanu whai whi au I pule la. E te taua o na tūlei le wha Samoa. Ia e le o la u tanga le nā, e le o uanga nā I le pule la a mātou ma lo tula I mai fo I le ngā luenga. E taua ia ule malama lamo le damititi I sā ma tō whamanino le datu tunu. Ia ona whawhiu sua I lea ma lo lato malama lama e peo nei ai. So I think there's very little lift when you want to distinguish content versus context. But wisdom calls our people to focus not so much on the content, but the context. One is temporal and the other one is eternal. And it is my prayer that you examine your life and see if you can distinguish the difference between content and context. And that you live a life more powerfully by focusing on the context. Yeah.
This is a bit about context and concept.
So content and context. So yeah, maybe I didn't explain that very well. How did it land there, Robert?
It sounded good. The eternal and the context and the spiritual and the stuff.
The temporality, the eternal of yeah. So I mean, eselepuni loa, eselepuni matatongo. That's a proverb that we hear all the time, and it comes from something physical like capturing fish. But no one does that anymore. That's now how fish is caught in the 21st century America. So part of the task here is to extract the essence of the proverb. And the essence is don't confuse content with context. Yeah. When you look at the context of this country, we're a democracy, we have these high aspirations that all men are created equal. That's the context. And we've been trying to forge that more perfect union as generations come in to this country. But in actuality, when you take a look at the content, you know, there are some places where blacks are not invited still. And by extension, people of color are not invited to those places. And it messes people up when they focus on the content, right? Because just like however much time you spend in the Samoan community, Robert, as long as you don't negotiate the language, you'll always be an outsider, right? You'll always be an outsider. Your content will be deposited into the context that is Samoan, and that context is so overwhelming that you cannot carve into it, right? So I think wisdom allows us to be mindful of both content and context and know very well that context will win, right? And we should just take care of our content, do the best we can, you know, knowing very well that we can never become Samoans in this context because it's a Samoan context. Thank you for spending time with us. If you found this content helpful, please like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue bringing these insights directly to you. Yo, Manuia.